Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am back with another Guillotine Deathless challenge, and here is a guide on how to navigate through the second challenge, 8.2.6 completion. To complete this challenge, you are only allowed to use Guillotine, Guillotine 2099, Purgatory or Morningstar. You can use any rarity or any ascension. My favorite choices are Guillotine 2099 and Morningstar. Also, you have to skip the choice node before the Bahamet boss for this challenge to count. There are two paths that can be done depending on your team. I would suggest the King Root path if your main attacker is going to be a mystic one, either Guillotine or Morningstar. But if you have a higher rarity or ranked Guillotine 2099 like me, go for the Professor X path, which is a tad easier path for 8.2.6. The defenders are Professor X, Red Guardian, Omega Red, Daredevil, and then a very nasty Apocalypse followed by a Crossbones. The nodes are Weapon, Tactical Skateboard, Disarm with Dodging Specials, and Capturing the Weapon with an SP1 Knockdown, Aggressive Armor, and Kinetic Transference. Now I took down the boss Bahamet with Guillotine 2099 in 10 minutes solo, but that was on my 8th try. So stay tuned for that at the end of the video, and let's jump into the fight by fight analysis. The first fight is against Professor X. Now you can choose to bring in Guillotine 2099 with the Huntress protocol activated or not, but be very careful of the miss from Falter and keep an eye on its cooldown. It's easier to dex SP1 from Professor X to disable the weapon node. Once the node is disabled, trigger an SP1 to capture the weapon for yourself. Now you can really do some damage with those critical hits while you are wielding the weapon. I would really suggest you to finish the fight with an SP3 to have 100 hits on your hit counter for the next fight. Fight number 2 is against Red Guardian and is one of the easier fights in the path. His specials are a bit tricky to evade, and you have to delay the timing of your dexterity by a little to get the evade, resulting in disabling the weapon node. I personally find it's easier to evade the SP1 than the SP2. Once you have the weapon node disabled, trigger your SP1 to capture the node and let those crits flow from your attacker. This is a great fight to heal your Guillotine 2099 back to full health with Stability Protocol pre-fight. Again, ensure to finish with an SP3 to have a 100 hit advantage for the next one. Now speaking of the next fight, it is against Omega Red, and it is a tailor-made fight for Guillotine 2099 as she is a robot and will not have to worry about the death sports from Omega Red. Bait SP1 from Omega Red to evade, that will help you disable the weapon. By that time you would have an SP1 ready for yourself too, so you can capture the weapon by triggering your SP1. The weapon will help you with cruelty and some huge crits, and this is a great fight to bring in a Guillotine 2099 if you are running double guillotines like me. Finish the fight with an SP3 to start with 100 hits on the counter for the next one. Fight number 4 on the path is going to be a Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. He can be very annoying to deal with if we are not careful with his parry shrug-offs. Easy way is to block until he triggers a heavy attack and then you can retaliate. But remember, blocking Daredevil hits will give him power with kinetic transference and may nudge him to an SP3. Push him to an SP1, which I find it's easier to evade to disable the weapon node. After that, an easy SP1 as an attacker will give you the weapon node and the ability to gain cruelty with every hit and huge criticals to finish off the fight faster. Very important here is finish with SP3 if you are using a Guillotine 2099 to have a 100 hit startup against upcoming nasty apocalypse. Probably the nastiest fight at the path at number 5 is against Apocalypse. His SP1 is easy to evade to disable the weapon node, but he gains a lot of power with his multi-hit special attacks. These hits during specials give him more power with kinetic transference, enabling him to trigger back-to-back specials. If the weapon node is on red recharge, those block hits will also be criticals and will cause you a lot of pain and damage. I like to bring in Guillotine 2099 with Huntress Protocol for bigger crits on every 20th hit to finish off the fight faster. Don't bother to save up for an SP3, just spam SP1s or SP2s on your 20th hit to finish off the fight before it gets really ugly. Push Apocalypse to SP2 only if you can evade them. Otherwise, stick to SP1 evade only and capture the weapon as soon as possible and use those cruelty buffs to annihilate Apocalypse. The final fight in the path is Crossbones. Bring back your Guillotine 2099 you used against Apocalypse to build back her 100 hit counter with an SP3 when you knock out Crossbones. I personally find the SP2 last hit is easier to evade from Crossbones to disable the weapon. Once disabled, drop an SP1 to capture the weapon, helping gain cruelty and huge criticals to finish off the fight. Remember, it's very important to finish a fight with an SP3 to start with 100 hits and take full advantage of Guillotine 2099 pre-fights against Bahamet. Before you start the fight, if you're using Guillotine 2099 like me, which incidentally is the only best allowed champion from the Guillotine pool against Bahamet, make sure that you finish the last fight with an SP3 and also to activate the pre-fights Hunter's mode and Stability mode. There are two reasons why we activate both pre-fights and not keep any armor. No armor means no regen when we fall below 15% health, and this will help us avoid the heal sponge node on Bahamet. It's advisable to boost as well, as it will help you do more damage and also heal more from the stability protocol pre-fight, as you will start the fight with 100 hits. And you will notice me healing throughout the fight. In phase 1, 100% to 81% HP, I like to start with a couple of heavy attacks to gain those hit counter guards. The goal here is to stay near Bahamet when the gamma timer is about to expire to give him volatility charges. Once Bahamet gains volatility charges and triggers an SP1, he will hurl a radiation blast towards us. Ensure to have an SP1 ready and trigger the SP1 into the blast. This will give you a removal charge. Now you can just knock down Bahamet with a special or a heavy attack to remove his celestial armor while you have the removal charge to do some full damage. Use your striker to chain your combos and get specials faster. Align your specials with the 28 hit on the counter to crit for all the hits in the special attack. For phase 2, 80% to 41% HP, build up your removal charge the same way as phase 1 by triggering a special attack into the Radiation Blast by Bahamet at the end of his SP1 animation when he has 3 volatility charges. Once you have the removal charges, use a well-timed parry or a heavy attack to reflect the next Radiation Blast onto Bahamet to knock him down and remove the Celestial Armor. Once the armor is removed, Bahamet will take full damage. Use your strikers to chain combos and align your SP2 with the 20th hit on your counter for huge crits on every hit of the SP2. The stability protocol will also heal you up tremendously and give you a lot of sustain. If you are not sure, you can always check out my easy path video on 8.2.6 for a more detailed analysis of this fight. Phase 3, 40% to 10% health is the same as Phase 2 in terms of mechanics and how to gain removal charges to disable Bahamet's Celestial Armor to deal full damage. The only exception is Bahamet will now randomly throw heat radiation charges in orange color that you cannot reflect back but only can evade. But not to worry, the heat radiation blast does not utilize the 3 volatility charges required to trigger them. This will help reduce the setup time for the radiation blast triggers. Use a heavy attack or parry to reflect the radiation blast back to Bahamet to knock him down and disable the Celestial Armor. Once Celestial Armor is disabled, Bahamet is open for damage. And the final phase, 10% HP and below, you will gain a permanent removal charge and can only use well-timed parry to reflect the radiation blast. Bahamet will also gain the ability to reflect back the same radiation blast towards you, creating a small ping-pong style game. Every time you reflect the blast on Bahamet, his celestial armor potency is reduced permanently and helps you do more damage. Once Bahamet is at 5% or below health, use an SP3 from Guillotine 2099 for an instant knockout. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. Please leave a like and comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. We are so close to 50,000 subs and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.